What's up, watchers? Welcome back to another episode of No Rest for the Wicked. Today I'm trying out the new Breach mode that was just released. Let's name the realm here All the Gerbs, because I need a job. So they added a lot of new changes to the Breach. I can definitely post the change log in the the discussion or comment section. Honestly, I think a lot of it was just huge quality of life.
Told me stories.
And yeah, I'll chat more once this cutscene is over.
Said the pestilence turned men's faces inside out. Made them grow limbs where none should be. But the world was nearly lost in its wake. And she prayed that the Sarum would never need to return.
We should turn back while we still can.
It's an island, not a fairy tale.
This is a fool's errand. There's no sum worth bringing the likes of them to shore.
Okay, so what are some of the changes they made? They introduced a ton of new sort of like visual mechanics and assists to help you understand the controls. You know, when you move over your you know, items in the environment, it'll have a pop-up. Here I'm just going over sort of wanted to show you guys what my character looks like when you know, he's fully decked out in all the serum, or I guess the traditional serum you know, garb. And in this playthrough I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna go Dex. I really like using the bow. I know that there's supposed to be some changes to the bow. And I think it depends on whether I use a shield or not. In all likelihood, I'll probably, you know, try to find a balance. I like the, you know, my last playthrough I did a great sword and bow build, and I thought that was a ton of fun, but if you're doing that, you kind of have to balance dexterity and strength, so that you kind of limit your payoff by your bow damage, and you're limited to weapons that scale off strength and dexterity rather than dexterity alone. So just keep that in mind. It's also weird in this game that the weapons you find, they could scale off different attributes, and so you know, you might have to respec your abilities later to make the best use of some of the best weapons that you find.
I'll trade no word with you. These fools think they know who you are and where we're headed, but they've got no idea.
Yeah, so your backstory is you know, the serum,
You'll be our doom.
they must be kind of like a cursed
Just dash a
kind of
family.
force.
Always
There's a
one
lot of
meal
fear
away from starving.
surrounding them,
And a
and
bunch of
I'm not
rooms.
entirely sure what you know. I've played the
Sakura.
the
Yeah.
pre-patch playthrough a couple of times. I'm not sure who like the Dasha are. There's a bunch of factions here that I don't have a great grasp on the lore of yet, but yeah, a lot of these guys have a negative outlook of you about you.
You sell it sooner than saving infants.
The
Like
animation
they're
style,
any
though, and then the
They
fact that
eat,
they
they
have
shit,
voice
they
lines for
die.
each of these
They
individual
risk.
characters,
Hey,
is just
quick
incredible.
try to edge your way in.
It's very
Ain't even enough for
immersive,
us.
Move along,
the
son.
kind of world that they drop you into.
little space, eh?
Plenty of mainland ships go missing off Sakura's shores. We're not the only ones on these waters.
Charting our way is hard enough without you. No good will come of this. No good will come of this. Should have burned the island to the ground 1,000 years ago and never come back.
We've wrecked and ravaged our way across half of the Artian Sea. You're scared of a hunk of rock.
I pray the captain has the good sense to turn us around.
Captain wants a word with you. Don't mind the others. It's just their way. You go speak with the captain and I'll check on your quarters. Captain wants a word. He's up on the bow.
Yeah, and I've kind of been just going through the different dialogues here, seeing if anything's changed. You know, I think each NPC you talk to probably has 2 different states of dialogue, so you can talk to them twice and get different things before they're just stuck in one dialogue.
I won't be sorry to
that
be
they
out of these
repeat over
waters.
and over.
I was paid to deliver you to Sakura in
So,
one piece.
That's why I'm
And I will.
redoing it here,
Get to
even
your
though
quarters and stay out
some
of our
of
way till
you
nightfall.
watchers will probably
What will it you
have done this
Dex?
in your playthrough. So far, it looks
Island's
like
just up
there's
ahead. Through
not
this
any big
damn
changes
storm.
story-wise
Get to your
or
quarters.
to anything in the prologue
You know
here.
you can come out when we stop moving.
Alright, and so then this is an example you used to see where I'm just kind of like hovering over the blue orb, which symbolizes like an item you can pick up. It gives you a little preview of what that item is now, which I think is a nice touch. Just lets you, ahead of time, if you're low on inventory space and you don't bother picking up apples or whatever. This way you can leave them on the ground, pick them up later. You don't have to put them in your inventory and then end up having to destroy them. As far as I know, at least pre-patch, you couldn't drop items. You only had the option to deposit them in a chest or destroy them. And if you're out far away from a chest that you can store items in, you're not going to be able to really make use of that.
I got it all planned out. A year of this, 2 of washing the decks, 4 more in the rigging, another 5 at the helm, and then captain! Just like they'll all be saluting me soon. They'll all be saluting.
Hey,
You, a little help with the meal? Fetch me the mushrooms from the shelf and herbs from the table. I have to keep... In you go, along with a little seawater, a lot of sawdust. Sure, you can eat a mushroom in a pinch, but nothing beats a cooked meal. Here, have some for yourself.
So I think they did change the food mechanic. It looks like, yeah, it looks like some of these are giving you more health. Like that apple, right? I think it used to only give you 10 health, and the mushroom soup, I honestly forget how much health it was, but it does look like it was different. I think in the patch notes they also said combat is more Dark Souls-like, so you are limited in the number of health potions, or I guess health food items that you're able to eat during combat. But outside of combat, you know, if you can run away from a fight, or you know, if you want to top off, I don't think there's any restriction there, but we'll have to see. And I'm doing some of this recording after the fact. I think my mic was out when I was recording while playing, but in the future episodes I'll be voice recording live as I play.
You ain't the only thing we're holding, but at least the rest of our cargo stays where you put it. You're too curious by half. Keep...
You're just another job, as far as I'm concerned. The men think you're some kind of legend. Know what all legends have in common? They're dead. Do me a favor, Sarum, and leave me out of your story.
I fixed up your bed myself. Real nice like. Don't fret if you can't sleep. First few weeks aboard, I couldn't catch a wink.
so that cutscene looked pretty new. I haven't seen any of those weird figures in the background. I don't remember that in my first playthrough. Could be wrong. Like the damage is way less on these guys. I would say for anyone that's struggling with combat, just remember spacing. Remember that these guys, they kind of have fixed animations. If you learn them, that's excellent, but if you see them preparing for a swing, roll away, create some distance, and then once they've finished their attacks, go in to land some of your own. Let's see, did they change the shields? I think they did change the shields a little bit as well. This shield has some weird... I think they did not do the character model and how it attaches to your hand correctly. You can see it's kind of floating on the thing. The other thing you can notice is the focus bar, which is a little bit above your health bar. That's still part of the game. Looks like it. I'm not sure if it fills up more quickly here either, or maybe I'm just getting more used to the mechanics of the game. But keep track of that. If you have enough focus, each weapon has a special ability or a spell that you can kind of cast through it, and those are all like really powerful ways to see. Right there, I used the special attack and the Dragon Focus. Those are just really easy ways to take out the opponent. Alright, let's try the backstabbing. God. I know I saw some post on Reddit that the backstabbing is really hard to do. That window seems super tight.
I tried to fight like you, but I can't. My name's not what. It's...
Valhalla is our island!
So you're rarely gonna get like group fights like this where you have allies with like blue health bars. It also looks like 15 damage, obviously killing some of your fellow sailors. If you can though, when there's these group fights, like take advantage of it, pick off opponents, help the allies as much as you can. They'll help you deal with the big crowds. Definitely spacing is key. See, I have to get a backstab. That window is really strict. Let's see if I can get it again. Yeah, it pops up and it disappears for like a split second. I'll get it eventually. I also think the charge-up attacks, you can space them correctly. They can be really useful. They also perhaps do a little bit more blows. Oh, the other cool feature that they added is, you know, pre-patch they didn't have all these different indicators right next to your character avatar. So you can see now, I actually popped up a potion I didn't do. You can see health is on the left, in the center is sort of your stamina, and then on the right, that's your poise, meaning if they fill up that white meter on the right, you'll be stunned, and then an enemy can attack you or get a few free hits on you. Yeah, and then that tooltip that you just saw, that's each weapon has like a bunch of different hidden attacks in it. So you have your normal attacks, you have your charged attacks. You also can start combos off of sprints or dodges. So you sprint and then hit your attack button. It can start it has a special animation for a lot of the weapons. And same thing with the dodge. And for some of the weapons, they give you chain starter, which is pretty cool. Let's see. The other thing I'd say is, when you're holding down your shield for block, you can also tap your weapon button, and at least for a few of the weapons that I tried pre-patch, there was sort of a special attack you can do. So there's like a intelligence-based sword you can use where it does this really quick double stab, which is like a rapier, a gladius kind of weapon. So experiment around with all. I don't think all the weapons have the same moveset. Some weapons don't have a charged attack with the first hit. If they hit with a regular attack and charge for the second attack. But it's worth figuring out what the weapon movesets are ahead of time, so you can plan out what kind of special. Yes, I finally got a backstab. It is possible, but man, I needed to be really quick there.
It's too late for fairy tales.
It's too late for any of us.
So, it's true. The king is dead. Long live the king. He was a great man, and a good friend. I will mourn him.
We will all mourn him. Your father's soul is at rest now, King Magnus. The people look to you for strength.
I offer my condolences and my counsel, as I did for your father for
The
many
great
years.
pestilence has returned, Lord Bowers.
Yes, I have heard the rumors.
They're not rumors. Even now, it ravages the island of Sacra just off our own shores, turning their men and women into unspeakable things.
The pestilence is a punishment upon those who have lost their faith.
Is it now? How
You
convenient.
question the church.
You're not the church, Madrigal. You're just the tip of its spear.
Enough. Whatever the cause of this sickness, I cannot allow it to spread. My father has been weak for many years. I will begin my reign doing what he could not.
My king, you are grieving.
Man,
I must recommend against
It's
any-
already
Madrigal,
done.
she is
Tomorrow, Madrigal Celine and her Inquisition will set sail for Sacra.
just
I
so
promise
cool
we will
looking. I
cleanse
love
the
the
island
voice
of this
actor.
wickedness.
It's got such
Our
a
new king's faith in the
deep and
church is
sultry
well
voice.
placed.
Our
But
king's
she's
faith
she's
was never
got
in
this
question.
Prince, or I guess this new king,
Ellsworth is a strong
wrapped
ruler,
around
Your
her
Grace.
finger.
Sacra will recover.
No.
But can you blame him?
Sacra will be reborn.
Yeah, you can. He's kind of snotty.
This is my responsibility to the kingdom. With God's hands, we will reach into every corner of the island and bring it like a newborn babe, screaming into the light.
I knew it. Should have never brought you on board. You'll never make it to Sacrament. From here, this coast is crawling. If there isn't. I'll be back at sea.
Okay, so here's a new interesting mechanic. They gave you unarmed weapons, which are kind of like gauntlets. So, and it looks like they also have like a Hadouken kind of power you can use. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so they were supposed to introduce like some unarmed kind of combat fighting for the more monk-inclined players, and it looks like they did. I don't know that I'm gonna continue using that, but it does seem to be pretty effective. Yeah, let's see if I can sneak behind this guy. Oh, sick! Man, the attack animations for this guy are insane. That is a pretty cool moveset. I'm not gonna lie, that was awesome. It does look like they lowered the cost of some of the attribute requirements for a bunch of weapons. This Azure Blade used to be a 11 strength and intelligence minimum requirement, I think. So they've lowered some of the, you know, early level 1 style weapons so that you can play around and experiment with some before committing down a build path. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the different weight classes are, I think quick step is you get a lot of space, so if you can get in that weight class, I think it's honestly the best. Normal is just kind of like your normal roll from Dark Souls or whatever, and then heavy has kind of like a kind of like a cool moveset. It lets you do this shoulder bash, which knocks over opponents. People on Reddit were saying, you know, in the previous patch that it gave you less iframes. So iframes are invincibility frames. It's like when you're doing an animation, an enemy can't actually harm you while you're doing that animation, but the less of those iframes you have means that you're more vulnerable to attack during that animation. And because you aren't able to do anything, it's a potential weakness. But having the shoulder bash is a pretty sweet mechanic. Yeah, and it looks like, unfortunately, well, I kind of like it, this harvesting resources thing, except for the fishing. It takes way too long. But that's still in the game, which means, you know, try to get tools as quickly as you can, because as you're moving through these different areas, you want to capture all the resources you can while you're playing and before you get to the town where you're going to need those resources. The other thing you might notice is that they've changed the icon on the upper left. Now it kind of looks like the iPhone character avatars you can make. I don't think I was much of a fan of it. I liked it when they generated a... Oh, damn it. I can't. Jumping in this game. So difficult. I kind of preferred it when it was just like an artwork representation of whatever your character and that character's equipment was. So, not as big of a fan of this change. And let's see if we can backstab this guy. You see that freaking window? It's so tight. I saw it for like a second and then I must have either no. Oh, that was kind of lucky. I needed to heal anyway. I'll come back to him. Yeah, that window's so tight though. It's so easy for you to miss that little split-second window where you need to, where you need to react and hit the backstab button. Also, apologies if you guys are catching some dogs growling at each other in the background. Yeah, so this weapon, I didn't really use this on my first playthrough, but it's got this ability where it enchants it with fire damage. Fire would be... Jeez, I just got completely gibbed. Yeah, fire would be great against like plague enemies. I think the undead kind of creatures really like weaker to fire damage. But I need to craft some more healing items. It's a good thing. I do feel like they have given you a lot of resources you can use to make potions. So I feel like you're that limited. Although I do remember my first playthrough, and this was even before the patch. I was chowing down those mushrooms and other kinds of food. Like I was from a person with an eating disorder. But once I understood the mechanics a bit more, it got easier. So I know you can use these fallen embers to respec. It looks like now you can re-roll enchantments on magical or plagued gear. I guess plagued gear is what they're calling the purple gear. So I'm interested to try that out. I didn't do that on my first playthrough. Like I had a huge supply of embers. My ducks. But I never actually went through it. I think partly because you have to play through the Crucible enough times to unlock a certain feature in it, and I just wasn't that interested in it because at the time the Crucible didn't give you any experience, so it didn't really seem worth it. Yeah, in my previous playthrough I went through all these journals, and I will probably do that for the new content, but I'm probably not going to do it for the existing content. Nice. So this is another cool feature. They've added previews on all the gems, so you can actually see what it does. Before you had to go and enchant the item to see what it kind of what slot it kind of went into. Oh, interesting. So the bow looks like it uses focus now. So before the patch, it didn't require focus to use, but it looks like it requires a small amount. The other thing I'm noticing too is that the ability above your weapon, right? It's fully, I guess, fully lit when you have enough focus. But when you don't have enough focus, it tells you just how, it gives you a sense of relative focus needed before you can use that ability. That's something that they didn't have. So that's another nice update. Yeah, so the gem preview, that's pretty awesome. It's a big quality of life thing. Now you can actually see what you potentially could do with the gem and what slot you put the item into. Oh yeah, always check behind waterfalls. I feel like there's always, something behind these things. Yeah, so the bow changes. I feel like that's a good balance change, but it does mean that you can't spam the bow attacks. Honestly, after using the bow in the first in the pre-patch, the bow is so good. As long as you had patience, you could take down any enemy by just spamming the bow attack, and it would also build up small amounts of focus too. So, or if it didn't, you could slot a gem into it, and and then build focus up that way. So it's like it was pretty ridiculous. I can understand people might be upset with this change because now they can't really play an archery build, so I don't really know how they're going to balance that. I mean, unless people are... Because look, either you have an unlimited supply of arrows, and it costs nothing to use them, so you can spam them, or if they're going to make it so that you can't spam arrows and it requires focus, then they should add like a system where you have to buy arrows and you have limited supply. I mean, that's... I think people complaining about it are being a little silly for this. Even in Dark Souls, not Dark Souls, Elden Ring, I think you had some limited ability to use bows non-stop. But then again, I haven't played Elden Ring for a while, so I keep misremembering. So pretty much all the things that the devs changed so far, I'm in total agreement with. Maybe not the backstabbing. Backstabbing is also like a super powerful thing. So this feels like a change for the better. And yeah, even though it's boring to watch cut down trees here, if you are on your playthrough, as you're going through the environment, stock up on as many of these resources as you can. Once you hit town and you can start these building projects, the building projects are going to unlock items for you, they're going to unlock resources, they're going to unlock all sorts of different things, and you definitely want to get those started as quickly as possible because they actually take real time to finish. And sometimes quite a bit of real time, so you generally don't notice this if you're playing like I am at the end of the day or something, and you wanna, you're gonna head to bed after this anyway. The next morning when you wake up, everything's gonna be done, so it's not like you're missing out on the fun, but if you've got a play session and you really want that next level and it's going to take another 4 hours to complete it or whatever, yeah, I could understand why you'd be a little bit peeved. You know, in that regard, they could implement like a rest system. They've kind of done that. They do have a rest system, but honestly, if they put in a rest system and then that cuts down on the time for the building projects, it's almost like why even have time for the building projects anyway. So there's got to be some sort of trade-off there. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can sneak up on this guy. Window. I feel like it's even the backstab angle. Like I'm not sure I'm coming at it. Yeah. I had it. God damn it. Also, watch your stamina when you're swimming. You will die if you run out of stamina. I think it's pretty ridiculous how quickly you can die. Then again, this guy's got like all upper body. Yeah, it's not quite as buoyant as a green person is. Okay, let's see if I can get it. There it is. Dang. So you have to be like really, really specific on your positioning there. Kind of a pain. But I guess that's also because I'm so used to the previous one where it seemed like it was really easy to get backstabs. I know I've read a lot of complaints on Reddit about this.
Get over here!
Yeah, I also don't understand the view range for these guys. It's tough to sneak up on. Alright, so you see there how I did the, I was using the shift and then attack, so he does like kind of a forward lunge. So that's nice, you can dodge out of the way of an enemy, do a quick return attack, and then stay mobile. I don't know if you guys also noticed it, but they added a new visual feature, so before, and oh man, I completely whiffed that. Before, when you were doing like the crucible, you would collect like the enemy souls, and there was like a form of currency to unlock things inside the crucible. But they added that, I think, to, you know, killing opponents here, because you can see those little rapiers fly to you. Fell up the XP bar. So honestly, I'm not sure the best build path yet. I know in the past I was gone for equipment load and then, you know, health. I think were two of the big ones. Focus, because having a big supply of focus can make a lot of fights easier. But the thing is like they changed some of the weapon stat requirements, so the damage scaling, so I'm just not sure what kind of weapon I should focus on just yet. Maybe I'll save up my points for a bit, or maybe I'll dump them into equipment load and health and stuff first, and then worry about the weapon damage scaling later.
I'll make it quick, I promise.
Yeah, so even though I'm thinking I'm gonna do the dexterity build, I do really enjoy the greatsword. I mean, this thing just it hits like a truck. It also lets you keep your spacing between opponents a lot more. I got I got a pick, so now I can go and mine all those copper veins. Yeah, but the savage, I mean, I'm probably not doing the block as much as I should, but having the block honestly will save your health bar a ton more than you think it would. Jump to this copper vein. So right now you just have basic tools. I think when you get more advanced tools, it definitely lowers the speed, or increases the speed at which you harvest the resources. I want to say it also might give you more of those resources, but I could be wrong there. see that if he can not knock me off this time. Well, failed the backstab again. Myself some fire damage. Yeah, the nice thing too is it does damage over time. Man, I really whiffed that. You can also see I wasn't correctly utilizing block or anything for that, so let's go try it again. Wow, those blasts did damage this time. And yeah, like I was saying, the burn damage is insane, insanely useful, because it does damage over time. When I was hitting with the electric enchantment, though, it looks like they added another feature, which is after a certain number of hits, an additional bolt of lightning came down on the guy, which I don't think I had seen before. Oh, and then this climber's pick has probably one of the best rune powers. This fire throw, it's super powerful. Not only does it set them on fire, but it, especially if you put it on like one of your two-handed weapons, it'll do a ton of damage. Interesting, Lord of the Muck. This is a wand. Wands are definitely new. Have not seen those. This guy still hits like a truck, but at least I can use the power a little bit. This weapon attacks are really slow, but it does decent damage. Oh yeah. Yeah, that return of that axe, it does like the damage twice. Also, you could see there, I kind of like hovered my mouse on the bottom, but you do have like limited numbers of limited amounts of healing you could do per combat. Yeah, so it looks like some of these gems, I mean the increase spell focus regen, or just focus regen, that was such a useful one because you just passively will rebuild your focus whether you're in or out of combat. So that's just like super useful to have. Alright, so I think I'm just gonna level up equipment load for a little bit now. Maybe a few more things just so I can wear some more armor items, especially, yeah. Also, the other thing that sucks is by the way, that shooting thing, it's really useful, but I prefer to just be a little bit more nimble. Yeah, the other thing with, like, you know, if you're using a one-handed weapon, you can change the bow, like, pretty interchangeably. I mean, you won't be able to use the shield, but at least you have a quick, you have access to, like, multiple runes at once. Your one-handed weapon, rune, you got your secondary, so it's kind of like you have more tools in your toolbox versus when you have the two-handed sword, you can't swap to the offhand, even though, you know, you could have a bow there, which I kind of don't like because I would really like to play like a two-handed build with a, you know, like a two-handed sword and then quickly swap to a bow, but I can understand why they did it. It's not too much of a hindrance. But like most games, right, you can't really have like a nimble two-handed character quite like, you know, quite like you. So the other thing about the shield is super useful against these asshole archer characters. When they're shooting their bows from all sorts of ranges, it's I hate that. Especially if you're like a two-headed character and you don't have a good means of blocking them. And you're also, you know, trying not to waste all your endurance blocking their shots, so that when you get to them, they're just gonna, you know, you're unable to really deal out some damage to, you know, prevent them from just steamrolling the double slice attack that you can do. swear that looked like some sort of war vein right behind. I guess it's just the stack of bricks. Yeah, you can see like the big strikes of lightning that come down on these guys when they get, I guess, enough electricity on them. Right there. I feel like that's it. Maybe I missed the conversation earlier, but in the past I thought you could overhear them talking.
Just who's back the gate, you
Oh, or at least they still know, but only when I pop through that door. Gotta pop those barrels, use them. Yeah, I think the poison, the plague also does damage.
How's that, you bastards? Who's squealing now?
Thank you, stranger. Thought I could sabotage the gate, keep more of these savages from reaching. I got my damn full self trapped. Suppose there's a reason I'm a blacksmith and not a soldier. Huh? Name's Fillmore. If you ever need anything repaired, you come to me. Nothing out here. This will open the gate. Get yourself to Sacrament, through the open glade to the east. But keep a careful eye out. I heard some of these risen speak of a foul presence outside the city's gate.
Alright, I just sped forward through a bunch of this. Oh, no. Yeah, I sped forward through a bunch of... I'm gonna try to edit the video afterward and speed forward through a lot of the resource gathering. That way it's more interesting. Another example where the shield is useful. You know, block the hit and take only a fraction of the damage versus a big chunk. Oh, why did I drop the emote wheel? Uh-oh. Man, I'm struggling with this guy. Also, I think by distancing, this sword doesn't have much range to use the Spellblade, because I am whiffing a lot of my hits. Hell yeah, but see, it's got a nice combo though. It does 3 really quick attacks in rapid succession. The crushing flurry on this club is devastating. But this shield scales with dexterity, so I'm betting, I mean, even though this one has slightly higher armor rating, I don't know, the dexterity scaling might be better in the long run. But I mean, right now I don't have any dexterity, so Obviously the strength one is better. Okay, so now you saw the special rune power that thing had. I mean, that thing just eviscerates enemies with the amount of swings and damage it does. Wow, that was super quick. Not expecting that.
Careful, Lara. Someone's coming.
Sarim. Forgive my father. He mistook you for one of the Risen.
If you make for Sacrament, there are worse things than bandits up ahead. The great beast is loose in these glades.
They say it used to be a mare. I wanted to go after it, but father says...
Father says the Torn are not to be trifled with. And he's right.
I don't fear the pestilence any more than a wild boar. One day, they'll sing songs about my skill with the bow.
I'd prefer you alive to sing them yours.
You're welcome to our fire as long as you're here. I'll keep it tended for you. We both know what it's like to be lost in the woods. All you can think about is a warm meal.
Sweet, so first ring. Bonus to armor is never a bad thing. I don't know what the best rings are going to be now. In my opinion, in the pre-patch, there was a ring that gave you like 100 extra focus, which was insane. It also helped you build up focus, so in my mind that was the best one pre-patch. Let's see how I fare against these guys. I think these are nimble. Damn, this weapon attacks super slow. And I missed every single one. Did this make anything for me, but sheesh. That's right, just eat a fire flask and be done with it. Indiana Jones style. Except without the pistol. Instead it's a hand grenade. So, the first plagued item, unfortunately, draining health continuously is not worth it. So, yeah, I won't be using that one. I guess I could try to reroll that, but I'll have to figure out how to do that later. Alright, I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching, watchers. Until next time.